Oh. Okay, guys, close your laptops, close your everything, except for educators. Okay, the session starts in 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. This is our debate session from the third group. Let me introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Razan as the chairperson, and from our crew there's Raden Zalfa as the timekeeper, and Yuana Mutiara Zahra as the camera person. And don't forget to give the honors to the educators, Raya Zahra and Siti Ayesha, as they evaluate your debate today. So the, the debates, your art, the debate I have. Bentar, ulang. Ulang. Ulang lagi. Nggak bisa. Ulang dulu. Oh ya, Zoom. Ulang dulu. Ulang dulu. Boleh nggak sih? Belum ada. Jadi gue belum siap. Questionnya oh ya. Boleh. Boleh kita tanya. Iya. Oh, organizer juga gimana? Iya, 15 poin. Oke. Okay, the session starts in 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our debate session from the third group. My name is Muhammad Aryan Azan as the chairperson here, and let me introduce to our crew for this debate. And in the back, there's Raden Zalfa as the timekeeper, and Yuana Mutia Zahra as the camera person. Let's not forget about the educators, Yohana Raya Azahra and Siti Ayesha, who will evaluate this debate today. So this debate, the topic of this debate is about SDG 14, Life Below Water. And the motion of this debate is this House believes that aquaculture does more harm than good. So the time of this, each speaker has a time of 5 minutes, a maximum time of 5 minutes, and for stating their arguments, and the reply speeds of about 2 minutes, the reply speeds of 3 minutes. So the timekeeper will have a sign of 1, 3, and 5 to show how much time has passed. So 1 minute so when the timekeeper shows the sign of 1, which meant that 1 minute has passed. So without further ado, let's start this debate from the first speaker of the government team. Before you state your arguments, please introduce yourself and your team and their roles of this debate. Your time and stage is is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, esteemed adjudicators, fellow committees, and also opposition team and everyone present, including Ms. Yuna who is watching through the stream. Today, as the government team, I'm standing here to have a debate with emotion and belief that aquaculture does more harm than good to marine ecosystem. First, allow me to explain our team speak. Let me introduce myself. My name is Jasmine. I will be the first speaker of this team. So I will define the motion, present the scope, and also deliver the first argument. And then the second speaker will be delivered by Rati. She will provide the rebuttals and also continue the second and third argument. And then the third speaker, which will also be given by me. And lastly, the reply speech will also be given by Rati. So let's talk about aquaculture. What is exactly do we mean by aquaculture? Aquaculture refers to the farming of aquatic organisms like fish, crustacean, mollusks, and aquatic plants. In today's world, it is practiced mostly at large commercial scales. And our scope is about industrial scale aquaculture, which practices impacting coastal and marine ecosystem. This debate focuses specifically on environmental impacts of commercial aquaculture operations, not small scale subsistence fish farming. And our thesis is quite simple. It's about aquaculture as it's widely practiced today, especially in large-scale ocean farm, does more harm than good to marine ecosystems. It causes pollution, damages habitats, and disrupts the natural balance of life. The harm it creates is too serious to ignore, and any benefits are outweighed by the long-term damage to the environment. And today we present three main arguments. The first one is aquaculture destroy vital coastal habitats. And then the second one is aquaculture risks biodiversity through the escape of known native effluents. And the third argument is about aquaculture causes severe pollution through effluents. Now, moving on to the first argument is about habitat destruction. Coastal habitats such as mangroves, seagrass meadows, coral reefs are critical for maintaining biodiversity. However, aquaculture leads to their destruction. In 2021 study by the Center for International Forestry Research, Indonesia lost approximately about 269,000 hectares of mangrove to shrimp farm, causing habitat loss, carbon emission increases, and long-term environmental degradation. And also, a research that was conducted in Banten Province of Indonesia found conservation of mangrove into non-silver fishery shrimp ponds caused a reduction of up to 60% in soil carbon stocks. Without this critical ecosystem, marine life facing declining population, and coastal area lose natural protection against erosion and climate change. Maybe that's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, so now we heard the first speaker from the government. Then after this, we're now go to the first speaker of the opposition team. The first speaker of the opposition team. Your stage starts when you speak.
Okay, I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Good morning, esteemed educators, organizers, and respected members of this assembly. I am Abdi Hassan, proud to represent opposition team as the first speaker and later as the reply speaker, joined by Padu Haji as our second and third speaker. Right now, we stand united in opposing today's motion that aquaculture does more harms than it's good to marine ecosystem. But first, before we present our arguments, let us critically evaluate the government's definition and assumption to the aquaculture. We confirm that aquaculture is vital not only for meeting global food demands, but also for job creation. And what we want to highlight today is to protect the wild marine ecosystem. Nowadays, modern aquaculture uses environmentally responsible technologies and sustainable practice to reduce pressure on wild fish stock. By embracing innovation and effective management, aquaculture offers a meaningful solution to global food challenge while preserving our natural ecosystem. So it's a must for us to recognize aquaculture as a essential ally in achieving food security and environmental conservation. Secondly, let me address and rebut some of the main points brought up by the government's team. Previously, the government claimed that aquaculture damaged coastal habitats like mangroves, seagrass meadows, and coral reefs. However, this claim didn't look the improvement in modern aquaculture practice. According to the World Bank, over 70% of new aquaculture development now occurs in offshore and land-based facilities, which significantly reduce pressure on sensitive coastal habitats, also fully protecting critical ecosystems like mangroves and reefs. So in today's debate, opposition teams will bring out three argumentations. First one, we will discuss how aquaculture helps reduce overfishing. Following by the next argument, we will speak about how aquaculture use effective waste management technologies while increasing marine biodiversity. So let's move on to the first argument that aquaculture help to reduce overfishing. Overfishing refers to practice of harvesting fish or marine species over and over again and overpass their natural reproduction, leading to the decrease of stock, disruption of food chain, and serious long-term damage of marine ecosystem itself. Overfishing is a really dangerous thing because it removes key species from the ocean faster than it can recover. According to the Food and Agriculture Organization, or FAO, over 30% of global fish stocks are already classified as overexploited. On the other hand, aquaculture provides an alternative solution to a source of seafood. Instead of taking more and more fish from the wild, now we can farm fish and marine species from controlled environmental to meet global food demands. A clear example comes from the scientists Ricci and Reuser, who reported that aquaculture has helped species like white abalone and Olympia oyster in California. So, honorable judge, it's now crystal clear that aquaculture does not more harm than to the marine ecosystem. Instead, it helps to reduce overfishing, which has the opposite effect. So, if we think logically, the government case is stuck on outdated assumption about aquaculture. By refusing to acknowledge innovation, they are defending the version of aquaculture that no longer reflects reality. Meanwhile, we, as the opposition team, recognize the real improvement and solutions aquaculture provides to protect marine ecosystem. The fact that the world is moving forward, but the government team is stuck in the past. So I just want you guys to know that in today's debate, playing into outdated fears cannot outwit real solution. And I'm Abdi Hassan Zain as the first speaker and proud to be the first speaker of the opposition team. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for the first speaker of the opposition team. And now we'll go to the second speaker from the government team. The second speaker of the government team. The time starts.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning, honorable judges. Good morning, opposition team. Good morning, everyone that present and not present in the room. First of all, let me introduce myself. I am Rafi, as speaker 2 from government team. Okay, firstly, I want to say thank you to speaker 1 of opposition team for your mesmerizing speech. While you say that aquaculture can reduce pressure on wild fisheries, for a fact, in Norway, where salmon farming is huge, where salmon population have dropped by half mainly because of pollution and parasite outbreaks from fish farms, according to a study by The Guardian 2025. Also, you mentioned things about integrated practice, for example, like IMTA. Well, IMTA itself in its implementation is not yet widespread, let alone being a practical solution. So, according to a 2020 study by Frontiers, many aquaculture still rely on monoculture practices. Well, what is monoculture? If I may to explain it simply, monoculture is the kind of farms where you only keep one kind of species inside. And also, the monoculture can ruin the environment faster because when one kind of species defecate, there's no other species to decompose their waste. So it can pollute the water and eventually spreads the diseases. Back to the integrated practice we talked about, it's still far from widespread because of high cost. And also the implemented integrated practices hasn't been implemented on a scale large enough to tackle such as species escape and pollution. Okay, now we're moving on to our second point, which is escape of non-native species can cause harm to local ecosystems because it can outcompete local or native species by taking out their habitats and their foods. Also, according to Harikrishnan in his study 2024, most of the escapees are a direct threat to marine biodiversity. Even though your integrated practice may reduce the risk by diversifying species within system, we have to note that the implementation itself is still limited and the problems still occur in most aquaculture operation in the world because most of all aquaculture in the world still rely on monoculture practices. We're moving on to our third point, which is aquaculture causes severe pollution through effluents. Aquaculture discharges large amount of waste, and it settles to the ocean floor and eventually leading to nutrient buildup and eutrophication, as noted by Tisina in her study 2021. This waste either accumulates in sediments or decomposes, significantly degrading water quality. Even a system like RAS or recirculating aquaculture system that aim to minimize waste are still too costly and prone to fail to make a real impact, as pointed by Anglo-Hindi Study 2021. And because all of this argument, based on all of this argument, we do believe that aquaculture does more harm than good to marine ecosystems. And because of that, the government team will win this debate. That's all from me. Thank you. Proud to the government.
Okay, thank you for the rebut and the argument from the second speaker of the government team. And now we'll go to the second speaker of the opposition team. The second speaker of the opposition team. The time starts when you speak.
My voice clear enough? Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, educator, camera person, timekeepers, hosts, and beloved Miss Yuna, and the respected government and the respected opposition, allow me to comment the speech in 3, 2, 1. The environment is not a property to destroy, it's everyone's responsibility to protect. Mohit Agadi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Pandu Aji. I'm standing here as the second speaker of the opposition team. I'm here not only to reinforce and elaborate the argument delivered by our first speaker, but also provide the critical reorientation of misconception presented by government side. Okay, before we proceed further, let us first establish a shared understanding of aquaculture. What is the aquaculture? According by Food and Agriculture Organization (FAO), aquaculture is the farming of the aquatic organisms, including fish, mollusks, crustaceans, and aquatic plant, involving human intervention, such as feeding, management, and protection from the predator. What must be underlined in today's debate is aquaculture is not a risk of the environment. On the contrary, aquaculture has great potential to heal oceans that have been damaged by overfishing, pollution, and habitat destruction. And when managed properly and innovative, aquaculture can give truly remarkable results. And that's all the definition. Welcome to argumentation phase. Today, I will demonstrate how modern aquaculture through innovation and responsible management can provide real solutions to our environmental, economic, and food security challenges. First, let us begin with IMTA. What is IMTA? IMTA is Integrated Multi-Trophic Aquaculture System, which is innovative aquaculture method that combine edible species with extractive species, such as fish and seaweed in one ecosystem. In the system, waste from one species become nourishment for another, creating a natural nutrient cycle. And according to research by University of New Brunswick by Dr. Thierry Chopin, said that the implementation of IMTA can reduce nitrogen and phosphorus waste up by 45% compared to the conventional system. Additionally, the presence of seaweed helps absorb carbon dioxide, mitigating ocean acidification, which is a crucial step toward combating climate change. For example of the IMTA, which a success is cooked aquaculture in Canada applies EMTA, which can boosting diversity while cutting pollution. And some of the benefits of IMTA are reduce overfishing, enhance local biodiversity, and support coastal economies. In other words, IMTA is ecological innovation that saves the ocean while building a sustainable future, which is contribute directly to global goals such as SDG 1, SDG 12, and SDG 14, life below water. And the second, we have RAS system. Same as government side said, the RAS is a closed aquaculture system that recycles more than 90% of the water through mechanical and biological filtration, based on FAO in 2015. And moreover, a study by Martin in 2010 said in the aquaculture engineering found that RES decreased nitrogen waste emission up to 70%. RES enable aquaculture practices on various scale, from small rural operation until large industries, thereby expanding economic opportunities without sacrificing environmental health. And third, we have aquaponics, the combination of aquaculture and hydroponics. By many researchers in USA in 2015, published in Aquaculture Engineering, demonstrate that aquaponics can save 90% more water compared to traditional farming. And furthermore, FAO said in 2014, aquaculture can give twice as much production in limited land. And the advantage of aquaponics are exceptional efficiency both in land and water, making it ideal for farming and simultaneous to product with lower operational costs and 100% reduction in the use of chemical fertilizer. And finally, we have biofloc system. Biofloc system transfer organic waste into high protein biomass through beneficial microbial communities. According by Afni Melech in 2012, in biofloc technology, biofloc system can improve conversion rate FCR by 20 until 30% compared to the conventional method. And with biofloc, aquaculture is not just about raising fish, it's about nurturing an entire ecosystem. Now addressing the argument by the government side, if they claim that aquaculture can massive pollution, they may apply to the outdated conventional practice, not to EMTA, RAS, aquaponic, or biofloc. If they argue that aquaculture disrupts species balance system like EMTA actually enhance the biodiversity. And last, if they highlight disease outbreaks, multi-species farming and biofloc system actually lower disease risk through enhanced ecosystem stability. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, when aquaculture conducted with responsible and management and innovative technologies such as EMTA, it's inaccurate and unfair to claim that aquaculture is does more harm than good in the ocean. In the conclusion, aquaculture gives many benefits than harm it. Thus, with the framework and innovative aquaculture, it is redundant argue that aquaculture causes more harm than good. In the conclusion, we stand firmly in aquaculture, and I'm proud of being of the opposition team. Thank you very much. I'm Pandu Haji. Yet my time to the judge. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you for the second speaker from the opposition team. Thank you for the argument and rebuttal. And now we are heading to the third speaker from the government team. The third speaker from the government team. The stage starts when you speak.
Yeah.
Third speaker.
Okay, to rebut the second speaker of opposition team, honorable judges, let me remind you of our team's firm stance that aquaculture, as currently practiced, does more harm than good, and the limited benefits touted by the opposition team are overshadowed by significant environmental damage. To reiterate, our core arguments are first, habitat destruction, pollution, and chemical contamination, and also invasive species and biodiversity loss. Now, let's address the points made by the opposition team. They want to point out about how sustainable it is, which is not the case. And also, argument two from them is about equipped with effective waste management system, which is not being completely effective. While sustainable alternative, the truth is that monoculture farms still rely on wild-caught fish for feed, exacerbating overfishing elsewhere. Even the FAO acknowledges that ongoing reliance on wild fish for feed this partly reduce pressure on wild stocks. And also, the second argument, effective waste management, is a limited impact. They tout AIS, but AIS are expensive and energy intensive, limiting their watts per use. And also, in 2021 study insights of the total environment shows that Chinese aquaculture can improve water quality locally, but cannot solve the larger problem of nutrient pollution from aquaculture and other sources. And also, in the well-magazine that you have provided, even uses the phrase well-managed aquaculture can help restore blah, 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 emphasizing that these benefits are not guaranteed. Now, this does not solve the core issues caused by the aquaculture itself. And also the IMTA is still from the Weisberg that has been delivered by Rati. Because a lot of farmers still using monoculture and high cost of botanical differences, and also hasn't been implemented on a scale large enough, such as species escape and pollution. Even with in the poster and one that you have presented previously, the last point says increasing marine biodiversity. While it does increase in biodiversity locally, does it really? This barely changes. And the claim that aquaculture saves the marine more than it harms is just not true. And the destruction of ecosystem, pollution, and just the plain fact that many of the systems that are claimed in the World Magazine that you have provided are not fully efficient and sustainable. So we stand firm that our thesis is that aquaculture does more harm than it does good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the first speaker from the government team. And now we're heading to the first speaker of the opposition team. The time at your stage starts when you speak.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen of esteemed educator, honorable mention, camera person, the honorable camera person, timekeeper, and Miss Yuna, and the respected government and opposition side, allow me to begin the speech in 3, 2, 1. First, let me expressing my deepest gratitude for your time and attention. I'm the third speaker of the opposition team, and I'm here to close the debate and address the remaining point raised by the government side. In the concluding speech, I will reassert the core of our argument once again that modern aquaculture, through responsible management and innovative system, does more good than harm to our ocean and environment. I will also refute the final misconception of the government has put forward. First, let us remember what has been said about the various system modern aquaculture such as EMTA, RAS, aquaponic, and biofloc. These are systems not just innovation in farming. They are solutions to pressing environmental issues such as overfishing, pollution, and habitat destruction. As we have heard from our esteemed speaker, the EMTA system has proven to reduce nitrogen and phosphorus waste up by 45% and help combat ocean acidification through the presence of seaweed. And the implementation of EMTA is so many in the worldwide, like in Sweden, Norwegia, and Canada. And the second, we have RAS system. RAS system. What is RAS system? RAS system is recirculating aquaculture system that ensure the recycling 100% of water, drastically reducing water usage while lowering nitrogen emission up to 70%, and also accelerate production cycle. And if government side say that RAS is very expensive, I'm sorry, there is no data. There is no data show to how much expensive is RAS is. And in aquaponics, we see the system that not only saves 90% of water, but also increase productivity of the water by twice as much on limited land. This show the aquaculture can thrive in urban environment, make it an indispensable tool for the future of production food. And last but not least, the biofloc system, which is turn organic waste into the high protein biomass and creating a closed loop and sustainable system that significantly reduce water pollution and feed costs. And the second, it is crucial to emphasize the misunderstanding that government side has attempted to propagate. The government may argue the aquaculture causes pollution and threatens biodiversity. However, the reality is quite the opposite when we look at the modern innovative system, such as EMTA enhance biodiversity by creating new habitats, and RAS reduce pollution and waste through water recycling, and aquaponic and biofloc, which is eliminate the need of harmful chemicals and reduce environmental footprints. This technology will not only counteract the environmental damage often associated with conventional aquaculture, but they also directly contribute to solving many of the issues government claims to worry about. And the third, I want to reaffirm once again, the ultimate goal of aquaculture is sustainable food production. Modern aquaculture is an essential part of the solution to global food security. With a growing global population, the need of efficient, sustainable, and environmental friendly methods of food production has never been more urgent. Aquaculture, when done correctly, ensure that we can meet the demands of protein-rich food without overburdening our ocean. And the system we have discussed today, EMTA, RAS, aquaponics, and biofloc are sustainable, innovative, and forward-thinking solutions to the challenge we face. In the conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, we must look at the modern aquaculture for what it truly as a tool of sustainability, economic resilience, and environmental recovery. By embracing this advanced method, we can heal our ocean, reduce overfishing, and ensure a steady supply of seafood and nutrients for the future generation. In the conclusion, aquaculture gives many benefits like reduce overfishing, manage waste effectively, enhance biodiversity, and strengthen food and coastal economies. And it is evident that modern aquaculture does more good than harm, and therefore, we are the opposition, firmly stand by our opposition. I'm Panduaji, thank you, and I rest my case. We return to the floor to the moderator.
Okay, thank you for the third speaker from the opposition team for speaking and ending the debate. And now we are heading to the reply speech for the opposition team. The reply speech, the time is 3 minutes. The stage starts when you speak. The time is 3 minutes. Okay.
I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Okay, in today's debate, the government tried to convince that aquaculture causes more harm than good to the marine ecosystem. However, through the debate, the opposition teams have proven why their arguments are outdated and simply do not stand in modern context of sustainable aquaculture. So let's go through the debates clearly. So the first one that the government said that, okay, the government said in the first argument that aquaculture damage the coastal habitat. I already explained it that aquaculture use offshore. That aquaculture use offshore and land-based facilities that is protecting critical ecosystems like mangroves and reefs. And the second one that the government said that aquaculture leaf pollution and waste. But we have like the MTA and RAs. Okay, maybe they said that RAs is so expensive. We can use like hydroponic or maybe use like AMTA. AMTA is not that expensive because we use like we put different species in one system that one species can reduce can reduce the pollution in that system. So it's not that if you cannot use RIS, you can use and hydroponic. Okay, let's go to the third one, that about the escaped non-native species, or the parasite, or the parasite or the infection of everything, that we can if there is a parasite and everything else, we can use like the last innovation that we say that we can use a biofloc. That biofloc use like a chemical something that can reduce like and can protect the system from parasite and something. Okay, so that at the end of the day, the government stood on fear of the case, while we can stood fact technology and proven success. For the reason, it's a crystal clear now that that aquaculture does not more harm than and instead make a good for marine ecosystem. So thank you. Okay.
Okay, thank you for the high speech for the opposition team. And now we're heading to the reply speech for the government team. The time is yours.
I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Good morning, honorable judges, opposition team, government team, and everyone that present or not present in the room. First, as an observer to the debate, I'm here to wrap things up and make it clear why today's debate falls to the government side. From the start, they showed that aquaculture in the real world causes serious, undeniable harm to marine ecosystems. They talked about how it destroys vital habitats like mangroves, threatens biodiversity through the escape of non-native species, and pollutes coastal waters with nutrient waste. And most importantly, they didn't just make claims, they backed it up with strong and recent evidence. The opposite trying to respond by bringing up things like IMTA and RAS, but they, the government side, showed you with real data that these methods are far from being widely used. Also, the opposite argued that aquaculture helps reduce overfishing, yet the government pointed out clear cases, like in Norway, for example, where aquaculture made the problem worse, with wild salmon population declining and pollutes level rising. In short, while the opposite talk about what aquaculture could achieve in theory, the government team, stuck to what's really happening. And the reality is the harm is happening right now, today. The solutions they proposed are just not working widely today, and the environmental costs are just too big to ignore. That's why, at the end of the day, the government is the side that gives you the strongest, clearest, and most evidence-based case. I urge you to give the win to the government team. That's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you for the reply speech for the government team. And in this reply speech session meant that this debate session is coming to an end. Before we are ending this debate session, let us congratulate for both of the government team and the opposition team. And also let us thanks to all part of the queue, the camera person and the timekeeper for handling this debate session. And also with thanks to the educators for evaluating this debate session also. And also thank you for Ms. Yuna for making this debate possible. And I'm as the chairperson signing out. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay. Uh, You want to take picture, whatever it is. We can have educators. I know you have not finished. Just continue with whatever you're doing. And you still have time. You can use it to finish whatever task I asked you, okay? With this, could you just leave the Zoom? Thank you. I'm going to need to turn off the TV and everything from there.